Okay, like, what is she wearing on her head? It's not poop, okay? Well, today I'm being a unicorn. I am a unicorn who loves to dress up every day as if I'm going to the party, even though I'm just going to the daycare, really. But guess what? I love it. And in case you were wondering, yes, I am a citizen of Lausanne. Those are pictures in Lausanne. Proof! So you're probably wondering, how does she have the guts to dress like that every day? So here's a secret I'm going to share with you today. You too can be a unicorn. So, I love to call myself a unicorn mom, but career-wise, I'm actually a book author and a fashion entrepreneur. I guess I never really fit in a box. I've always lived my own path, and never I imagined that living my own path would lead me into becoming who I am today. A best-selling author, a well-known blogger, and a runway designer. So how did it happen? I believe it's because I've always been true to myself, true to my inner unicorn. But wait, what does it actually mean to be true to yourself? To be authentic? And why do a lot of us find it so difficult to be authentic, and yet it is so important? Brené Brown, who's a research professor at the University of Houston, has spent years doing research about this topic, authenticity. And she defines authenticity as a collection of choices that we have to make every day. It's about the choice to show up and be real, the choice to be honest, the choice to let our true selves be seen. Being authentic sounds easy, actually, but we are living in a society that wants to put us in a box, that dictates us how our bodies should look like, how we should dress, how great our careers should be. We are living in a society that sets unattainable expectations about perfection around almost everything. And so we put filters, not just on our selfies, but even on our lives. We are so afraid to let our true selves be seen and be known. So here's a question. Why are we so paralyzed by what other people think about us? Because we are so desperate to be loved, to belong in a society. We try so hard to fit in a box so we don't jeopardize that sense of belonging. Because we think that that sense of love and belonging comes from other people. But in fact, we are the ones in charge of providing that sense of love and belonging to ourselves. I'm sure you have all heard about the hierarchy of needs of Maslow. Here it is. In a society where the first two basic levels are covered, you can see that love and belonging is a priority. Us human beings, we need to feel loved. We need to feel that we belong. But we must also remember that it starts from ourselves. You know the word courage? The word courage sounds so heroic, as if in order for you to be courageous, you need to be as strong as, I don't know, Wonder Woman? But being courageous doesn't necessarily mean putting our life on the line. In today's world, being courageous is about putting our authenticity and even our vulnerability on the line. When you are being true to yourself, you are already everyday heroes. It's your superpower. So, what about authenticity in a professional context, specifically for women? Joanne Cole, who's a writer for Forbes Women, She said that women often feel the need to change themselves, to command respect in settings that are dominated by men, and ultimately to advance in their careers, or even socially. And yet, a recent research by Deloitte found that 50% of workers think leaders should be more authentic in order for an organization to succeed. Do you see the contradiction here? Authenticity is important, and as women, we need to step up our game. My favorite, Coco Chanel, she said that beauty begins the moment you decide to be yourself. And you know what's interesting about this? Is that the moment you decide to be yourself, you are actually in love with yourself. And when you are in love with yourself, other people start falling in love with you too, for who you are. And therefore, you attract the right kind of people. You don't lose your sense of belonging. In fact, you start to belong more and more with the right people. Believe me when I say that authenticity leads you to many, many great places in life. So, how did I apply all this into my work? Up to date, I have written 7 books. They're all about mindfulness, about self-love, about self-acceptance. And I asked people why they like my book. They said, sorry. They said they like my book because they find the words relatable. And my books, they said they move them to become better people. So I connected the dots. Because I have always been true to myself, when I write, I literally write from my heart. And therefore, the words that I write become more meaningful, hence more impactful. This is the power of authenticity. Now let's talk about fashion. I love fashion since I was a kid. I love colors. I love over-the-top clothes that looks like I'm, going to party. And when my family and I had to move to Switzerland 3 years ago, my friends were terrified. They're like, Diana, are you sure you're gonna dress like that in Switzerland? I don't think people in Lausanne dress like that. And now that I'm here, I understand what they mean. It is bold, yeah, but this is me. And I really don't mind when people stare at me. I just simply feel the happiest when I wear happy, bright, bold colors. Now, I also have a friend who also lives in Lausanne and who also loves to dress bold. But she told me that she doesn't like it when people start staring at her because she thinks they are making fun of her for looking weird. So I told her, what if people are staring at you because they simply think you look awesome, but they're just not saying it out loud? In fact, they're saying to themselves, man, I wish I had the confidence to wear that. You see, this is an example of when you assume the worst in people and affect the way you feel about your surrounding. It's a dangerous way of thinking. So it all goes back to being true to yourself, which leads to loving yourself. Remember, when you love yourself, you cultivate this good energy inside you. And when you have this good energy inside you, you start having better thoughts about other people. You don't think negative about them, when they look at you. You're just, you shake things off easily. You don't get offended easily. You're basically more relaxed about things. Now I'm going to share a bit about my personal life. So, as a unicorn mom, I am a mother of 2. I have a 5-year-old son and a 2-year-old daughter. My son, he is autistic. He has autism spectrum disorder at a moderate level. And having an autistic child is challenging, yes. And it was very hard for me in the beginning to tell people about it. For me, this was about my vulnerability on the line. So I asked myself, how can I be true to myself and to others about the situation? Because I knew that if I just shared with people, I will feel lighter. But I was scared. So then I asked myself another question. What would a unicorn mom do in this situation? With that thinking, I decided that I wanted to share my story in a bold way, rather than like making a sappy, sad vlog. I wanted to celebrate autism instead of wrapping it into a sad story. So since I'm a fashion designer, I decided to make a fashion show. And I dedicated my collection for my son. The collection is titled I Love Autism, and I presented it in Canada in Vancouver Fashion Week. For me, this fashion show was my coming out moment, where I finally had the courage to share my story my way, while also raising awareness about autism in a more positive light. To me, this was a kick-ass unicorn mom move. Woo! So back to the unicorn. Why a unicorn, you wonder? Because for me, unicorn represents superpower. Having a fictional animal representation of myself just makes me feel stronger. It gives me this power to believe that anything and everything is possible. And why not? Let a unicorn live inside you so it can give you loads of powerful, positive energy that pushes you forward while still being your authentic self. And if you refer back to the earlier question, how does she have the guts to dress like that every day in Lausanne? Well, now I'm going to answer that question. It's because I simply love myself. I treasure each and every day I get to live and breathe. I want to enjoy my life my way. And I really don't mind the stairs. You should try it too. So now, I will ask all of you to close your eyes, or probably not, up to you. And think about your inner unicorn. Magic is about to happen, you'll see. I want you to understand that it is okay to have all the flaws inside us and still be strong and beautiful. Because strength and beauty comes from owning our weaknesses and overcoming them. And now I would like to read you a quote from my book. I no longer want to be that lamp that shines dim just enough to let people see that I exist. I want to be the kind of lamp that shines bright and make people stop and stare and admire my shape and color and wonder how I was made. I want to allow myself to become that amazing person I can be. So let us all be our own versions of unicorns. Thank you.